Hi, and welcome to Spirited Investigations Caught My Eye. And this week, Mark is going to let us know what he's seen.
I am, and I'll be referencing these notes because I'm not an actor. Well, first of all, actually, was Ghost Club Paranormal last week. And we got that message, didn't we, where Jade had to cancel. She had a heart wobble. She's had an operation recently. What do you know about that operation?
She had an ablation.
Ablation, yeah. So,
and,
bit touch and go, but she had to cancel last week, and we wish her well. But this week, they had a great episode from, I believe it was a steam museum, and they got lots of knocks and bangs and things, and it's way worth watching because they're on form, and it reminded me a little bit of their Kansas trip about 6 months ago. Was that?
Sure.
That was really good as well. So yeah, Ghost Club Paranormal were first on the list. Yeah, they were great. Now, referencing this, because like I say, I'm not an actor, was the Y-Files and about synchronicities.
Wasn't that cool?
It took me back to reading the book by James Redfield. What's the title of that? I forgot.
It was Celestine Prophecy.
Celestine Prophecy.
Yeah.
And the way that if you look at things in a different way, you can see the links between them. You may get a letter from somebody and then a phone call from somebody else. They seem to be unrelated, but if you get to a certain point of understanding, you see why those messages came when they came. And it can be for something completely, seemingly unrelated. And as you go on, you work out, that was related.
Yeah, and they give the example. Hey, you want to come up here? They give the example of when you're thinking of somebody and all of a sudden they call. You know, it's somebody you hadn't talked to for months, years, whatever, and then out of the blue they call.
Yeah.
And one thing about synchronicities is that if they're happening in your life, you're doing something right. You're on the right path.
It's like an awakening, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting study area. And I thought AJ from the Y-Files really did it good. He mentioned the taxi as well. You know, the guy that apparently, yeah, somebody was struck by a taxi in a street, and
1 year later to the day,
another guy was hit, which was his brother. Was it? And the taxi driver was the same taxi driver with the same taxi and carrying the very same person.
Passenger.
Yeah. Absolutely incredible stuff. Well worth a watch of that one.
Yeah. So if you find things are happening in your life that you're just kind of thinking of and then they manifest, that's showing that things are doing right. And that's the thing about, I read the book Creative Visualization, and I cannot remember, I used to remember the author's name because that book was so, and it's about having a wish but also making it able to come true. As Richard Bach says, you may have to work for it, however. Yes. But if you have a dream or a wish or something you want to see manifested in your life, have it manifest and let it go. Because if you hold on to it and you're giving it anxiety, is this going to work, is this not? It's a negative energy towards that thought. So what you want to kind of do is act like you already have that.
Yes.
And you're grateful for it.
And also to be specific in what it is.
Very specific.
Not just vague, like, I want $1 million, you know. How are you going to get that $1 million? Where do you
might
expect
end up
to get
in
the signs of it?
All pennies, and they're not worth it, you know.
But, you know, a few hundred million of those, well, you can't get pennies anymore,
right,
can you? I think
exactly.
they've been banned, so be more specific than pennies as well, you know. Okay, so the next thing, sort of tangentially related, is Ghost Theories video from a few days ago, which was in an abandoned school. And Elliot mentioned memories, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, if it's a school and it was built in the 1960s and nobody died in there, why are you going to get spirits and why are you going to get energies? But the thing he kind of alluded to was the way that teenagers, they got all these emotions kicking around, and of course poltergeists linked with young girls, you know, in teenage years. And perhaps there are very, very strong energies, you know. People who are down on their luck, they're not doing well in their exams, they really want to go and do something afterwards at a trade school or something, whatever it is, and they can't get there, or the sports teams, and there could be some very, very strong memories within a school, and nobody actually died. But yeah, you can have the ghost there.
Well, this is like my house in Moorhead, Minnesota. The previous owner of my house lived next door. She was an elderly lady, and she told me that when her husband went to war, her brother built the house I lived in for her and her daughter to live in because the other house was too big. And then when, of course, they came back to war, he came back from war, they moved back into the other house. So I know our house was built by my next door neighbor's brother. But I was having poltergeist activity in there, and from early when we moved in there. And I asked the neighbor, has anybody died in our house? And she said no. But there was a man there who abused his wife. And there was a lot of negative energy in that house. And I think that's what caused the other thing is that I got fired from a job and Katie was going through puberty.
So mixing those together?
So the emotions, the energies, I had so much poltergeist activity, it's unreal.
Yes, I remember you were saying about the cups stacked upside down.
Yeah, I'd cleaned the kitchen, mopped the floor, everything, put all the dishes away and everything. The next morning I wake up and one of the cups I had washed is upside down on the floor.
Yeah. Okay, moving on now is something with Josh Gates about Stonehenge.
I haven't heard of him for so long.
I know, but when you see him, you'll think this dude looks exactly the same as
Really?
10 years ago. He's not changed. I think he's AI. Nobody. I mean, I don't know. Yes, he's doing very well. Very well is the point. Yes,
Yeah.
he's. But this one was about a very interesting change in thinking about Stonehenge, and that is, it wasn't the summer solstice, apparently, that they were venerating, that they were looking
They
at.
didn't set the stones up
No, it was for the winter sunset, the winter solstice sunset, because they looked at the finishing of the stones with this LiDAR thing they carried on their backs worth $250,000, and it showed that the stones were better finished on that side that would be on the winter solstice.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So also they found human bones in there as well, and it gave the thought, and it did to them, that they were actually honouring the deceased at the end of the end of the deceased year, and the start of the new, with the crops growing and the planting and what have you.
Haven't they found
Completely
many
different.
graves around there?
Yeah, completely different way of thinking about it. And it does tie in a little bit. I mean, you may be the same, that, you know, you get to the shortest day of the year and you think, well, this is great, because now if we've knocked off sad, you know.
Yeah, the worst is over, now we're heading into the bright
seasonally
days.
affected disorder, yes, from tomorrow it's getting longer days. And then when you hit the summer solstice, well, that's when you start hitting the bottle as well.
Oh, it's all down here from
it's
here,
all
huh?
gone, yeah, but it is a similar way of thinking, in a way, to what's been found out at Stonehenge. So that's another one. All these links will be in the description. And I found that fascinating.
Say, I found out recently that the altar stone came from Scotland.
Right, a heck of a long way. Yeah.
Was it over 300 miles or something?
Well, it will be, yes, to Stonehenge, yes, from Wiltshire.
And they do figure that it came by boat down the coast and then up into the nearest inlet bay and then up to Stonehenge.
Wow.
And they're also, I've seen both about the blue stones coming from Wales, that they did go to the canal, used boat, and then overland, and then other people say that it went over the mountains and everything, just all overland.
However they got it there, there's some technology we don't know about.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. I doubt they floated them or anything like this, but...
Well, if you think about when they said that the stones for the pyramids were brought from down the Nile.
Yeah.
Brought up from down the Nile. So they did have barges and stuff big enough to do that.
Which means their shipbuilding was
Well, look at the
underrated
Phoenicians. I mean, my gosh, their ships were huge.
Yeah, yeah.
Huge.
They were blind. Oh no,
Say,
Phoenician blind.
Can I divert here too? As long as we're speaking of old structures and stuff, I watched a thing on Gobekli Tepe. I am always going to say it, Gobekli Tepe. And it was interesting to a point in that the man who was giving the video proposed that Noah could have built Gobekli Tepe, or the Watchers, because they were giants. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, he's that ministries guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he has some interesting information and stuff you don't really hear from anywhere else. You know, I do like a couple of
A different
those.
perspective.
It is a different perspective,
Yeah.
yes.
Sorry for interrupting.
Well, that's fine. I was just going to wander onto Skinwalker Ranch, so I mean, yeah, it's a bit different.
I stopped you. That's my favorite.
Well, right. So the episode that I'll link to was a recent one about the full dome that it appears to be. It's only I think a 10 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes video, part of one of the actual episodes. But yeah, they're showing that not only were they getting a dome above the triangle area, but 2 different researchers plotted the graph of the GPS coordinates and changes or whatever it is they're looking at, and they found it going underneath as well. So it's more like a ball in that area, and that is just amazing. And then a donut shape, isn't it?
Yeah, a toroid.
Which they're thinking could be, and I forget what Travis said, but he came out with a really long word to mean a
wormhole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interdimensional passage or something like that.
A polyditransformer, whatever he said. And I'm thinking, dude, you came up with that off the top of your head.
And well, the thing is he's so smart he could, and we wouldn't know it.
Exactly. Didn't he write science fiction stories, you were saying?
Travis
Amazing guy.
Taylor is so smart. He's got like 4 doctorates. He writes science fiction books. He's on all these shows as presenter, and yeah, the dude is, I mean, that's why he's going bald. His hair is going in, his brain's taking over.
Yes.
No, Skinwalker Ranch.
Hang on, it's not that his hair's receding, his head's getting bigger. So it looks like there's less of it.
Yeah.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Skinwalker Ranch is, I've been studying that since before Bigelow.
Well, he might like the next one too then.
All
You'll
right.
just have to give me a second.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Now,
oh,
what
okay.
this refers to is new findings on Beyond Skinwalker Ranch, which ties in apparently to Skinwalker Ranch, although we've not seen the full episode because we're only watching YouTube stuff. And that is about 192 hertz. And it's a heck of a lot easier to set up than the one that Casper Site showed.
Yeah.
Although we haven't done that video yet. We tried the multiple frequencies with the Earth's 7.83 hertz and all sorts of things mixed up. We apparently got a result with a bright thing that came over us that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to do that video soon. But this is far easier, 192. And that also means you can use something like these Bluetooth speakers, which both of these came from
Dollar Tree. Yeah,
you know,
they're $5 speakers.
But 192 hertz is going to be 192 hertz. And where can you get that frequency? I'll also post a link to a tone generator. Just select 192, let it run. I recorded about half an hour, put that on an SD card, and both of these accept SD cards. So when you switch them on, they'll play the frequency. Really easy, everyone can do it. Try out that 192. Because
Not bad
it seems,
for $5, huh?
No, it seems to have been successful at Skinwalker Ranch.
Well, why
It
don't you
seems
play
to be
it?
the
Do you
same
have
with
the card
Beyond.
in there?
Yeah, but it's going to make a heck of a racket.
Well, still give us an example.
Actually, I believe I've got it in there. Let me see.
Power on. TF card mode.
There we go.
That sounds like a low note on one of those organs that you blow.
Yeah.
Melodic, what are those things?
Oh, harmonica.
No, the keyboard one that you blow.
Flute.
No, it's a keyboard you blow into
it is,
it.
isn't it? Like a little piano keyboard.
Yeah, it's like
type
a
thing.
melodica or
Yes,
something like that.
Anyway, the point being though,
I know we got off topic.
the 192 hertz is something that anyone can do, and that's something we will be doing, and hopefully we'll be able to get a video out of our trials here, because we do get to see some strange things in the Arkansas skies.
Check out our UFO videos. We have no idea. I swear, people, we watch for satellites. We watch satellites go over, and then these other things that we caught are not satellites. We just don't know.
We just don't know, we just want to know, and we're not saying we're seeing anything just weird. If someone can tell us this is exactly what it is, we'll go, okay, yeah, fine. you
Yeah.
know. I mean, we're not sensationalizing anything.
We have had people say satellites, but I don't know. We can say trust us. You don't know us, but they're not satellites.
No, well, that's it. That's the point. We don't know. We just get strange stuff going on. We get strange sounds. We get whatever. But that's why. I mean, just as a place with open skies to view, the 192 is worth trying. Simply because other folks like Skinwalker Ranch and Beyond Skinwalker Ranch, who were at Mount Shasta doing this,
Buddy.
that's the other cat, did get results that seem very interesting, and we don't have to worry about high-tech, high-end equipment to replicate 192. You could probably sing it if you were a good singer.
Speaking about hertz and stuff, paranormal investigating, do you think there's some hertz we can play that would induce a manifestation of...
Oh heck,
a spirit.
You might be going down below 20 hertz. Is that the
Yeah,
idea?
like the Schumann resonance or
something.
something
I
like
know
that.
some of them wobble your eyeballs and some of them wobble your bowels.
Yeah,
But
you don't want the brown note.
We don't want the brown note. Or the yellow note, or, yeah. I don't know. And it's worth looking at. There could be something like 14, 17. I don't know. But that is fascinating. Speaking, this is like a radio DJ, speaking of frequencies and whatever, and applications towards certain people and certain objects, was the other one I want to mention, which is another Beyond Skinwalker Ranch episode I saw this week. And that was where Katie Page and her sister went back to their ranch. And you may have seen one of the other
those
shows.
girls make stuff happen, don't they?
There was a guy set up a CB type of equipment, and they had Katie talk on it, and only when she spoke, not when the other guy spoke, did they get effects on their receiving equipment. This time she went there with her sister, and the guy who was in charge of it, he didn't get any responses. Then Katie went on, they got responses. They tried the guy again, nothing. Her sister went on it, on the CB, got responses back.
Katie and her sister were previous residents of this ranch, weren't they?
That's right, yeah, the owners. And that was just a fascinating thing about why only them, and what is it trying to show? Why is it still around, and why are they still important to whatever entity this thing is? It makes me wonder about Skinwalker Ranch itself and certain people that may be influencing things there on that ranch. I'd like to see, what I'm getting at here is, I think, instead of them filming every year for 4 months of the year or whatever, do the filming when nobody's around at all, middle of January or something like this. If they can do such a thing, leave all the gear going with absolutely nobody there and see if anything still happens.
Yeah. Well, Dragon and the other Kyle or whatever will have to be there, but
Well,
I see what you're saying about just leave it. I don't know. I think they'd be too afraid for the cattle getting attacked all the time.
That's true, isn't it? But I'm also a fan of doing that. When people they put locked off cameras, as they call them, in buildings and just walk away for a while. I think that's a thing a lot of people should do.
Well, what was interesting when Bigelow had it,
Right.
do you recall when they said that they had 2 security cams facing each other? And one security cam got ripped off the pole. They did not see it off of this one, but it was all the connections into the camera were pulled off, and the wiring for the camera was pulled down off of that.
Yeah.
And they didn't see it happen. They just saw the camera go blank.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating stuff at that ranch, and that's why I like to watch them. So let me know what caught your eye this week, and we'll see you next week with another.
Have a great week.
And thanks for watching.
Bye-bye. That was good. Well done.